3, but as Emma was just saying, in the Premier League it's a very different story. Van Gerwen second and Peter Wright fourth. And Wright really suffering, and he's under pressure for that fourth spot as well. He's on a really ropey run. He's lost 9 of his last 10 matches in PDC events. Now, stuff happens in sport, and results do happen like that. But as human beings, we like reasons and explanations. And here's the man to give you them. Mark,
100.
why is it happening? What's gone wrong with Wright?
He's not played well enough, Rod. No, sorry, that's not the best analysis. I just don't think he's settled at the minute, is he? Again, I feel like we do this every week, but there's a different set of darts again. And he's never been one to persevere, but yeah, there we see a slightly more tapered barrel at the bottom, but
92.
His form's been indifferent, and you look at his Premier League campaigns in the past, Rod, he's only featured in the playoffs twice. It's not majorly a happy hunting ground. So maybe the week in, week out schedule is getting to him, but he's stuttering to the top 4. He's still the favourite to get there, but he's making real heavy weather of it.
97. Michael McGuire, 88.
Well, Van Gerwen goes off here a big favourite, and quite understandably, given the Premier League record. He now wants double 7, however, 74. And he can't find it. But not even the world champion can check out 212. He can leave 32, though, if he hits a maximum. But he has yet to hit a maximum in the last 2 games in the Premier League against Van Gerwen, where he's been outmaxed 9-0.
Michael McGuire, 14.
The 3 matches have been very much one-way traffic in favour of Michael Van Gerwen.
Game shot in the first
Michael Van Gerwen gets double 7, comfortable hold of throw, but remember, these are the reverse fixtures of Liverpool in week 2, Rod, and I remember this was the opening match and a real nervy affair. It was the night where we thought Peter Wright
was the favourite then, wasn't it? Van Gerwen was out of sorts.
We were talking about Wright being the best player in and dominating the Premier League, and those opening 2 legs that Michael won were in about 36 darts.
Yeah.
And he admitted to me after the nerves were awful that night, but that victory allowed him to settle. And we're going to blame Peter Wright for waking the beast in this Premier League, but since then Michael Van Gerwen has been pretty convincing and will confirm his place in the playoffs, whether it be tonight or next week. But Peter Wright has got work to do.
Yeah, and he won easy at Liverpool, didn't he? No mercy on the Mersey from Van Gerwen. 6-1 drubbing of Wright. Now, Wright, of course, was coming off the back of winning in Cardiff in week 1. Well, as we quite rightly were saying, I think that he could dominate the Premier League. He looks the man to beat. And he hasn't won a nightly knockout since then, has he? In this Premier League. It's been the Van Gerwen and Clayton show.
Well, it might not be Van Gerwen and Clayton here, but it is Peter Wright using a Johnny Clayton dart. Maybe that's why Clayton's that good, just the darts, isn't it? Peter Wright's giving him a go.
And now Clayton, I think, is regarded as the man to beat. Just saw him earlier in the corridor there. I just said to him, you're on a big drought, 7 days without a Premier League victory. Frightening drought for Clayton. A full week without winning in the Premier League for the Ferret.
Jokes aside, though, it's been incredible for Johnny, because many people would have said, oh, he won the Premier League just behind closed doors, and it was all played in silence, but he's proved his worth. He's top of the Premier League now, and he is the favourite to clinch the title. Plenty of weeks or games to go yet, though.
It seems almost unthinkable now that the top 2 won't be Clayton and Van Gerwen in either order. 3rd and 4th very much open to debate, especially with James Wade's illness ruling him out of tonight's Arras action in Sheffield.
95.
Because he'd been going great guns up to then, hasn't he?
Yeah, James Wade will have a little bit too much, I think. He'll be back next week, we hope, and I think he'll make up that top 4. It's the Peter Wright position that's under threat at the minute. If he wins here and goes on to win the evening, then it's pretty much done and dusted, but it's looking precarious because either Joe Cullen or Gerwen Price will close even further if Peter Wright doesn't win here.
Yeah, hopefully James Wade will make a speedy recovery and he'll be with us at the O2 Arena in London. Then Newcastle, the finals in Berlin after all that.
58.
Well, Emma was mentioning that Wright averaged in the 80s last week in a defeat in that tartan tungsten tear-up against Gary Anderson, but his average tonight is tickling the ton, so this is more like it from the world champ.
Peter Wright, one thing that's got to change is he's got to be competitive against Michael Van Gerwen in the Premier League. It's been 6-1, 6-0 and 6-3.
100.
So
the
the early parts of the matches, he's been getting blown away, but he's hanging in here. But this would have been for a third consecutive leg on throw, but outside chance now for Wright.
Yeah, the whitewash, or the rightwash if you prefer, was in Exeter in the final in week 4 when Van Gerwen gave him a 6-0 toweling. The other victories came in Leeds and Liverpool over Wright. Oh, and he's in the wrong bed twice, the wrong big treble.
48.
Ends up in a bit of a mess, and Van Gerwen now 3 in hand. And only needs a solitary dart to regain the lead.
Just about to say double 5.
Game on.
Always tricky, but Michael Van Gerwen aggressively went at it, and see what it means to him. Johnny Clayton, remember, coming up in our last quarter-final against Michael Smith, he will finish the night top regardless
100.
of what happens. He's got a 6-point buffer, only 5 points on offer for the winner.
136.
I think it's key, Rod, that Peter Wright hangs on to Michael Van Gerwen's coattails, particularly against the darts. If his throw gets broken, and when you're on the run he's on the big stage, even a player as confident as Peter Wright is, he will feel it up there.
Well, his throw is vulnerable here, no question mark. And getting more vulnerable by the dart.
145.
As Van Gerwen expertly tees up tops after just 9 darts in this leg, the 4th leg of the match.
I've said the last few weeks, I think this new format has benefited Michael Van Gerwen because he's been winning. It's like an event, isn't it, Rob? He's been winning it. He's got that winning feeling of a tournament event. And
10 dart leg.
Yeah, 10 dart leg, 105 average, and is it more misery for Peter Wright? It's looking that way.
140.
10 months ago now it was at the match play last July 2021, when Wright routed Van Gerwen in the semi-final 17-10, when he was on top of the darting world, winning that world match play in Phil Taylor-like fashion.
After 110 in that match, well over 27 legs, and that takes some doing.
140.
He was in irresistible form, and he was at the beginning of the Premier League, night 1 in Cardiff. Like we said, well, we thought he may dominate when he won, but that's been his only win. He won with a 113 average in the final, but he's not been able to recapture that form since.
No, and he's gone out the quarterfinals last 2 nights of Premier League action and 3 times in the last 4. That's a ropey run for the world champion, which has jeopardised his position in the playoffs in Berlin. Whereas Van Gerwen and Clayton have kept ploughing on. They've won half a dozen nightly knockouts between them.
44. Michael, you require 125.
Van Gerwen being afforded time. Treble 17. He was going to go 25 ball, and
109.
there we are. Sets up, and it's all too comfortable, but we can't be too hard on Peter right here. He's averaging just shy of 97. Michael Van Gerwen's average is creeping up to 109.
Michael, you require 16.
It's a better performance from Wright, but it could end up with the same outcome, another defeat. 2 4s.
Game
4-1.
shot in the 5th
Van
leg.
Gerwen.
Michael Van Gerwen, 6 leg return to first. Game on.
We go to the O2 next week, and Peter Wright's first round opponent is James Wade. But what's interesting, he's in the same half as Joe Cullen. Joe Cullen's one of the 2 chasing pack realistically. Him and Gerwen Price.
96.
Michael Smith in still with a faint chance, but great angle of that Michael Van Gerwen dart, 4-1. He leads.
59.
And a Van Gerwen win could tee up another meeting with the aforementioned Ferret, couldn't it?
We talk about this in the back room. They seem to play each other every other day. It's felt like that.
It would be a 9th meeting in all competitions in 2022 if it happens.
So
Johnny Clayton would first have to dispose of Michael Smith.
And that won't be an easy feat. Michael Smith's had woes in this Premier League, but was impressive in Wigan the last couple of days. 14 straight wins, back-to-back titles. But over the past sort of 18 months, I don't think anybody's managed to get to Michael van Gerwen as much as Johnny Clayton has on a regular basis. Johnny Clayton always fancies it against Michael van Gerwen. Could be a rehearsal for the actual final.
Another. Yes, double 16 for the champagne shot to set the course popping.
16.
Oh, he really is strutting his stuff here, MVG.
His 12 darts thrown, and Peter Wright's on 239. Yes, Michael van Gerwen's impressive, but you've got to be more competitive than that. And this, as good as the match here, 5-1, couple of breaks. Michael van Gerwen will throw for a second 6-1 victory in this year's Premier League.
$96. $100.
Well, the Van Gerwen swagger has returned here, no question about that.
Yeah, the confidence, the rhythm is back for Michael van Gerwen. The throw as well.
100.
It's a lot more direct and aggressive now, and he's getting the results. 3 Euro Tour wins this year already.
Well, there were many doubters in the last couple of years or so that we would ever see the like of the 2017 version of the Green Machine ever again. How far off do you think he is off that, Mark, with that tungsten Terminator that swept everything away?
He's still got a bit to go. I don't think he, because I think the standard around him's up now.
Yes.
So when he's at that 107, there's players, 108, 109 players who can go with him. But he's got that confidence, and I like the word used, swagger about him again now, Rod, hasn't he?
94. Michael, you acquire 148.
Or can he wrap this up in some style? No, not this time for MVG, but it has been a top-notch display. It's featured a 10-dart leg, almost a 132 outshot, and an average of currently 103.5. And he'll be back for that 56, which really seems like the darts equivalent of golf's gimme, the way he's playing. Tops, and it is a gimme for the Green Machine as he beats his old darting adversary Peter Wright comprehensively in the quarterfinals here in Sheffield. 6